I took a really long break from playing video games, watching anime. I was in a miserable relationship, and I'm finally out of it. And so I was like, you know what? It's time to re-download Crunchyroll now that I have some time, and I'm gonna catch up on some of the things I haven't seen in, in a while. And Fire Force was one of those animes where I was like, okay, I need to finish this to see how it ended because I was on the edge of my seat. I at a time, guys, had Fire Force in my top 10 favorite anime. However, it is no longer in that top 10 favorite anime. That is one of the worst endings I've ever seen in anime history. It was awful. It was very Baxter. It was very it was very much like a reminder of like the Great Ninja War from Naruto. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And obviously there's gonna be spoilers in this video, so if you guys don't want to get spoiled, probably don't watch the video, but leave a like and a subscribe if you can before you exit. But anyway, so so let me just name all the things I don't like about it, right? So it was very Great Ninja War-esque, right? So what I mean by that is in Naruto, towards the end where the Great Ninja War started, that whole arc, they were just like bringing people back from the dead and like having them fight other people, basically, right? Because it felt like there weren't really a whole lot of living villains left for them to fight, like the side characters to fight. So they had to basically make them up. And I feel like with Fire Force, they did something very similar where, throughout the course of the show, they didn't really have any bad guys, really. I mean, they had some, but, the Ironclad Order, but for some reason, they totally disregarded the Ironclad Order and just basically made most of them align with the protagonists, and the ones that didn't align with the protagonists, it felt like their role, like it was almost like the Akatsuki in Naruto. I know that there's a lot of parallels, but it felt like their role was like these insurmountable foes who are very similar to like the Akatsuki, where they're just so strong and they're the secret order that is going to just fuck you up, right? Like you can't take them on. But as the show progressed, you got to see just how mortal these people really are. And towards the end, it just felt like they didn't really do anything. Like the threats that they established early on didn't really come into fruition really ever. You had the black guy, Karen, Charon. That guy was awesome. I love that character a lot. I think he was really cool. He was funny. He was a great character. But they kind of made him fodder, right? Like, there's no way that he's getting fought by like the D tier squad of Fire Force, and I know his whole goal is to stall. But like he could have beat all of them by himself. Like it seems like that guy was like so fucking powerful, and they just like basically made him cannon fodder. And then they had in Fire Force, they were just bringing people back from the dead. They were bringing back, bringing doppelgangers back, and the doppelgangers were like not even real versions of the doppelgangers weren't even like real versions of the characters, right? Like they were, I guess, like the public perception of that character, which kind of makes sense. I'm okay with that. But it felt like because they were rushing the series, because this was the last season, it felt like none of the characters or the doppelgangers, their fights or their arcs against themselves really got any attention, any spotlight, or any real relevance to the story. So basically, it was just them fighting a version of themselves that was kind of boring and underexplored and underdeveloped. And it didn't really feel good, really, any of the fights. Even honestly, the worst of the fights was the Benimaru fight, because I know Benimaru is the strongest, right? And I know the concept of, the public perception of Benimaru. So if the public perception of Benimaru is the strongest, it's technically not even as strong as Benimaru actually is. So like he's stronger than the perception of his strength, which is like kind of cool, I guess. It's very Gojo-esque, right? And I like Gojo as a character, but it just didn't feel like, it just felt like all these characters that were so hyped up and so cool, Benimaru, Joker, Burns, which we'll talk about Burns in a second, but it just felt like none of them really got any like real like value as characters, no payoff. It felt bad. It felt really bad. And I'll tell you this, Burns the fact that they didn't even let Burns die. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I didn't even watch the last episode because it was just I was like hate watching it. I literally was like I was like this watching the show unfold because the first 2 seasons were awesome. It was one of the best shows in my opinion ever, like in terms of anime. And then the last season was just terrible. So I was literally hate watching it at the end, and I couldn't even finish the last episode. It was so bad. But the fact that they let Burns come back and he's like, well, actually, I merged with Doppelganger Burns and now I'm alive. Like, dude, just fucking stop, bro. That's another thing that I don't like is I hate how shonens will refuse to like kill characters. And I understand why they do it. It's a shonen, right? It's not a seinen. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of like childish, more so childish like themes and concepts in the show. But can you have like even in a lot of children books, there's still plenty of people that die, I feel like, right? God, I'm blanking on it now, right? But like I feel like there's a lot of children's books where like people have died an honorable death or something like that. I don't even fucking know. Like I can't even tell you, but I know there's some out there. If you guys know, in the put them in the comments below. I don't actually have a script for this video because I'm just ranting about how much I did not like the ending of Fire Force. So I hope you guys like that. Yeah, anyway, I don't like how shonens just refuse to kill characters. That's my main issue with One Piece. And I love One Piece, right? I have the tattoo of Law on my hand. I think One Piece is a great anime, but the fact is that there's too many childish concepts, and there's too many characters that could die a real impactful honorable death that would change the tone and the narrative and the weight and gravity of a story, but they will refuse to kill them because, oh, this character is a beloved favorite. But why does it matter in a universe? Like, why does it matter in a universe when a character lives or dies? It's not like, especially if it's towards the end of the anime. Like, this is the end of Fire Force, at least so I'm told. So why does it matter if Burns lives or dies? Like, what's the purpose of him surviving? Wouldn't it be better just to make his death a good death? Like, die an honorable death? Wouldn't that be better? But yeah, like, I just think I think another thing about shonens that I don't like is that a lot of like I hate the idea of principles becoming or concepts becoming almost tangible. So I know how they keep talking about in Fire Fist, oh, my despair, oh, your despair, we need your despair to start the fucking world, the global fire. We need, it's just like, why do we care about all the, I hate when people are like, when for example, the power of friendship, right? Like you see these concepts a lot and they're obviously laughable and they're obviously like stupid and a lot of people don't like them. But then you see the opposite. It's like, oh, we needed your despair specifically to kick off the great cataclysm. Why? Like what like despair? I don't like the whole like, oh, these emotions become tangible and we need them to fuel us. Like it just seems it seems lazy. It seems like lazy writing where you need to pull on some stupid concept to make your story make sense. Isn't there a better way to talk about a great cataclysm? Like, isn't there, you know, for example, you know, human greed and desire? I know that it kind of plays a part in like in the story, but like, wouldn't it make more sense if just the whole thing was humans were constantly trying to, you know, build something, and by them building something and you know, technology advancing, they were like slowly killing the human race or making people lose their sanity. And then there's these people going around and like literally trying to like make a bomb. Like wouldn't that just like make more sense than like the amalgamation of all human thoughts, subconscious thoughts forming into doppelgangers and then like going to the world and then destroy, like it just, I'm a deep thinker, guys. I try my best to think critically before coming to a conclusion about really anything. And I was thinking about this while I was on the stationary bike at the gym. I was watching it and I was like, I literally stopped biking for like 2 minutes. I was like, okay, let me think about this real quick. Like, what part of this doesn't make sense? And I was like, all of it doesn't really make sense. And not only does it not make sense, but it doesn't really like, it doesn't feel good either. Like, even if it did make sense, it just doesn't feel like it was worth the watch. Because if I'm watching a story, I'm watching a group of characters in a setting completing an objective, right? And if the objective overall is bad, it makes it feel like the story was not worthwhile because a good portion of it is gone or worthless. So even if it did make sense, which I don't think it did, it doesn't really feel good to watch. Okay. And it felt like, again, I mentioned it earlier, but it just felt like everything was incredibly rushed. You know, you had this whole arc with Shinra and his brother Sho, and it felt like Sho kind of was like rushed to be an ally, and him actually, you didn't really ever get to see his powers really like in full. So you never really got to see a cool Shinra fight other than him fighting Joker in the very, very, very beginning. You never really got to see great character progression that actually was paced well and made sense, because basically it was like from like the second episode, Shinra's like, no, you're my brother and that's that. And Sho was like, okay. It seemed like he really did kind of break super easily. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. Again, Joker really had no point in the plot at all. The Joker really was probably the most disappointing character in the entire series. I mean, he pretty much did nothing the entire time other than just either agree or disagree with Burns. Like, that was, Joker is basically just like, yeah, I agree, Burns, or Burns, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. It just felt like he didn't do shit the whole anime. Again, I didn't watch the last episode, but I doubt he did anything like of meaning, I would say. I could be wrong though. Again, comment down below what you guys think. Yeah, it just felt like that series. It feels like Fire Force was what, three seasons of 24 episodes each, I think, or maybe 25. I'm not sure, but it felt like it could have been like 8 seasons because of how many cool characters were in the show and how many arcs that they kind of skipped over or glossed through or skimmed. You know, it felt like a lot of these characters were very underexplored and underdeveloped, and so the ending didn't feel good really for me at all. And I gotta talk about this too, because this really just bothers me to no end. Can Arthur just die? Like, I love Arthur as a character. I think he's hilarious, but give him an honorable death like a fucking knight. When Shinra is going crazy in the Adela against the girl with the fucking crown on her head that covers her eyes, I forget her name, and Arthur is cut in half. He literally got cut in half by Dragon. Like, Dragon fucked him up and he's just dead in space. And he just like wakes up and just does like some crazy beam of light and like knocks Shinra, like knocks him to his senses. Like, just come on, bro. Like, it's so childish and lame. It's childish and lame. How can you guys even take that story seriously when this is this is what comes from it? This is the end of the series, and you have people just coming back from the dead. And don't even get me started on the space ring. The space ring, like, bro, like, oh my god, bro, like, how did that guy know? How did the engineer, God, what's his name, Rio or whatever his name is, the little kid engineer that was friends with Vulcan? How is he supposed to know that Arthur is gonna go into space and has a space ring where he can breathe? Like, dude, it cannot be more fucking stupid. Like, I'm literally rolling my eyes. My mouth is wide open like this, like watching this unfold. And I could not be more stunned about how disappointed and bad the whole last season was. But this was like the amalgamation of it. This was like, oh my god, this really is that bad. You know, every time that there's a little bit of story left in something, you go, okay, well, maybe they can explain this. Maybe it felt the way with The Boys. When you're watching The Boys, you're watching Homelander just be retarded for like 2 seasons straight. And you're like, okay, well, maybe they're going to tie this loose end. They're going to make this make sense. And then once you get to the end of the story, it never was going to make sense, because it's obviously bad writing. This is what it felt like the whole time. I'm like hate watching the last season, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm like, okay, I think they're gonna make it make sense, because the first 2 seasons were good, right? And then it just never made sense, and it was never good. And so I'm watching, through the cracks of my fingers, just watching the story just unfold in just this awful, nonsensical, childish way, and I really could not be more disappointed. And that's the second time I've been disappointed by this mangaka, because I'm sure a lot of you guys know this is the same mangaka that created Soul Eater. And Soul Eater also did not end very well either, despite having a really cool concept and a really cool plot. So I think overall, guys, I really truly believe this was one of the worst endings I've ever seen in media history. I think this was honestly worse than Game of Thrones. I mean, it was so laughably bad. Like when Arthur got the space ring, I literally LOL'd. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so unreal. Like this is so bad." I don't know. This might be a video for a future time. I don't know what anime I've seen that has a worse ending than this. Because I didn't necessarily love the Code Geass ending, but it was like okay. I would rate it like a 5 out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10. I didn't love the Naruto ending. Obviously, that one was probably like a 3 out of 10, maybe 4. This one it feels like a 0. Like it literally feels like a 0 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think though, guys, man, because fuck, like I really cannot be the only one that doesn't like the ending of Fire Force, right? Like please tell me I'm not tripping. Please, like comment down below if you guys made it this far. Like the video, subscribe. Let me know if there's an anime you guys want me to watch. I'm watching like Witch Hat Atelier right now. Low-key kind of feels like pedo bait. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it. Apparently the manga is better. I don't know. But yeah, guys, long time no see. It's been great talking to all 241 of my subscribers again. I will catch you guys on the next one, and peace.